to get started here in just a minute. We just have a couple last minute people signing in. Tonight we're going to be holding our College Credit Plus informational meeting. This is simply a meeting that is going to give you information. It does not obligate you to participate in this program. This program is open to all 7th through 12th graders. So if your student is currently in 6th grade, we had a couple questions about this. Yes, they can sign up this year because they would be eligible for next school year. If you're currently a senior, you would obviously not be eligible to participate. And I know, is it hard to see back there? We couldn't dim the lights anymore, so I'm sorry if it's kind of difficult to see, but you do have a copy of it in front of you as well. So can I participate? Like I said, if you are currently a student in grades 6 through 11, you are eligible. Give me 1 second. So each of the colleges will admit you based on their academic criteria. So let's say whatever an incoming freshman would need to be admitted to that college, that's what they're going to look at for that College Credit Plus student. So it's not up to Oregon City Schools who gets in, who gets out of the program. It's solely up to the college who they admit and who they don't. You may not participate in College Credit Plus beyond your anticipated high school graduation date. So basically this is saying that, if you're supposed to have graduated and didn't, you can't fail classes and then come back as a 5th-year senior and take College Credit Plus. You have to do it during your 4 years in high school or during 7th and 8th grade. In order to enroll, you need to, by April 1st, this is probably the most important date of College Credit Plus, by April 1st of each year, the student and parent has to complete the letter of intent, and you guys all picked up a letter of intent today when you signed in, or hopefully you did. If not, there's more sitting in the back. You will have to turn that in to me by April 1st. If you're not in the high school, and I didn't introduce myself, I'm sorry. I'm Brady Burr, I'm one of the counselors at the high school. If you don't go to the high school, you can turn your intent to participate form into your counselor at your school, and they will get it to me. But April 1st is that deadline, and we have to have it in by. This intent to participate does not obligate you to participate in the program. It simply says that you are interested in it and that you're at this point intending to participate. We understand that may change once you get into the process. Maybe you will realize that you don't want to, but this is just an intent to participate at this point. If you do not meet this deadline, you will not be allowed to do College Credit Plus next year. That is written into law. That is a firm deadline of April 1st. Again, signing it and submitting it does not obligate you to participate in that program. So a little bit about College Credit Plus. You can take classes at any public university in the state of Ohio or at any participating private school. I don't know at this point. We did have Lourdes participated last year as a private school. I don't believe they're going to this year. I'm not 100% sure. But we do have University of Toledo, Bowling Green State University, and Owens Community College here with us tonight to give you some more information, because those are the schools that our students typically participate with. However, you could do any public school in the state of Ohio or any participating private school. You may travel to the college where you've been admitted, or you may enroll in online classes. So you have some choices. You can either go to BG or UT every day to take your classes, or you can do solely online classes, or you can do a combination of them. It's really up to you, whatever works best for your child. So who pays for the college admission, the textbooks, the fees, etc.? Students that are attending a public college are not going to be charged for any tuition or books. This is a free program. Students attending a private college may be charged based on what that college is planning on. So each college is going to do something, private college is going to do something a little bit different. But for the most part, you shouldn't have any fees either at a private school. Public school, you will not have any fees. However, I shouldn't say fees. You won't be charged tuition or books. You may have a fee like a parking pass or something along that line, but everything else will be taken care of. You are also responsible for your own transportation. So if you decide to go to Bowling Green every day, Oregon will not transport you to Bowling Green. You would be responsible for your own transportation there and back. So there's two different options regarding the financial arrangements. There's option A and option B. In option A, A, the student would elect to take the college course, and they'll have their own financial responsibility for the books, the fees, materials, etc. The district would not accept responsibility for payment. I'm assuming none of you guys are here to learn about option A, so we won't go into a whole lot of detail on that one. Under this option, the credits would not appear on the high school transcript. Option B, which is what I'm assuming all of you are here for, is where they elect to take a college course for both high school credit and college credit, and expenses are going to be paid by the Oregon district. Please note that you cannot take remedial or religious classes under the College Credit Plus program. So under this option B, which I'm assuming that you guys are here for, I said that Oregon will pay for everything. However, there are some exceptions to that. So if a student fails a course, or if they drop a course after the deadline, or if they receive a withdrawal fail, or if they receive an incomplete, any of those possibilities, the student is going to become responsible for paying for the fees for that class. They're going to pay for their books and they're going to pay for that class. And unfortunately, this is a very real situation that does happen with our students. They're enrolled, and we've seen students who are taking online classes. They wait until the last minute, they're not doing it, they don't have the motivation to do it because they don't have that high school teacher or that 8th grade teacher telling them what to do and checking up on them, and they end up failing the class, or they end up not being able to complete it or getting it incomplete. So we unfortunately have had this situation quite a few times. So it's really, really important as a parent that you know what your child is doing when they're taking that class. You need to keep on them if they're participating in the class, if it's online, if it's on the campus, are they actually attending it? Are they actually turning in the assignments that they need to turn in? That's not information that we here at Oregon City Schools typically know, because that's handled by the college. Now, the colleges have done a great job this year of sending us some updated information regarding kids who are potentially going to fail a class, but it's not every single student. It just depends on what professors they get information from. So it's not 100% reliable. So I would really encourage you guys, if your student is going to take one of these classes, make sure you're staying on top of them and you know if they're being successful in that class. Private schools may charge, like I said, a fee per credit hour for courses taken, and the students can be responsible for paying for this. Loras did not do that last year. They did not charge a fee, but I don't think they're participating this year. And the other private schools, as far as I don't know of any other private schools in the immediate Toledo area that are participating in it. So how do College Credit Plus classes earn credit? This is something that is kind of confusing. It changed this year, so I want to make sure that this is very clear. A lot of what I refer to I know is at the high school. I know some of you that are in here are not going to be at the high school next year. You're going to be at Facet. For those of you, let's say you're going to be at Facet and you take a Comp 1 class at UT, it's going to count for your either 7th or 8th grade language arts. It's also going to earn you your language arts 9, a full credit, and it's going to give you your college credit as well. Okay? If you take a 5-semester hour college class, it's going to count for 1 high school credit. The same is true for a 4-semester hour class and a 3-credit hour class. They're all going to earn you 1 high school credit. So if you take Comp 1 at UT for 3 hours, it's going to count for 1 full language arts credit here at the high school. If you do a 2-credit hour class, that's tweaking. It's going to count for 2/3 of a high school credit. And if you take a 1-credit hour class, it's going to count for 1/3 of a high school credit. Students who enroll in option B, which is the one I'm assuming you want, are going to receive on their high school transcript the grade issued by the college. So on your Clay High School transcript, it's going to say whatever school you're attending. So it's going to say Owens Community College, it's going to have the name of the class, and it's going to have the grade that you received on your high school transcript, which will get sent to all colleges. So even if you decide not to attend Owens once you pursue college after you graduate high school, that is going to show up on your high school transcript that we send to all colleges. The course is going to be clearly designated on transcripts as a college course taken for high school credit, but the grade will be computed in the grade point average as if it were issued by the high school faculty here. So if you look at our grading scales here at Clay High School, that's how your grades are going to be computed into your Clay High School overall GPA. It is on the AP scale, the College Credit Plus classes are. We will compute GPA at the end of the next regular grading period. So we will, at the end of each semester, we will receive those official transcripts from the colleges and we'll put them onto your transcripts here in Oregon schools. All students must be enrolled in a minimum of 5 courses each semester. That can be any combination of Clay High School or Facet and CCP classes, but you have to be enrolled in at least 5 classes per semester. There is a credit limit for CCP, so you can earn up to 30 college credit hours per academic year. And they have started something new this year with CCP, that summer classes are going to be offered, and it starts this coming summer. That does count into the 16-17 school year, and it counts into that 30 credit hour total. So if you take classes over the summer, it's going to limit how many classes you can take then in the fall and the spring because you can't go over that 30 hours. So there's a formula. It looks at the number of high school credits that you have, you multiply that by 3. You then subtract that number from 30, and that tells you how many college credits you are eligible to take for that school year. So the example here, let's say a student here at Clay High School has American History, Language Arts 10, and Biology on their Clay High School schedule. That's 3 classes worth 3 credits. So you would take 3 times 3 equals 9. You would take 30 minus 9, and that tells you have 21 credits available to you at the college. Okay, so how are high school graduation requirements affected? Your graduation requirements remain the same regardless of whether you're doing College Credit Plus or not. So this does not replace the requirements that you need to earn a diploma. This includes the 18 points that you need on your graduation test. You still have to earn those. You have to take your end of course exams in English 1, 2, Algebra 1, and Geometry. You do not have to take the end of course exams in Biology, or if you're in the class of 2018, it would be Physical Science for you, American Government, and American History, if you are enrolled in CCP courses that substitute for those classes. Now those 18 points that you need for graduation, this breaks it down of what kind of points you would receive. If you're substituting a College Credit Plus class into one of those classes, if you receive an A or a B at college, you're going to get 5 points. If you receive a C, you're going to get 4. A D, you're going to get 3. Obviously, you would get nothing if you get an F in CCP. Students can use college courses for credit toward high school graduation, which we talked about. So if you do Comp 1, it's going to count, say, as your Language Arts 9 or Language Arts 10 credit here, so it counts towards graduation. However, it's the responsibility of the student and parents to be sure that the courses that you're taking meet your graduation requirements. So we unfortunately have run into several situations this year where students have made schedules or have made schedule changes after they gave us their schedule without us knowing it because they didn't alert us. And they've changed the classes. So let's say they needed Comp 1 and they needed Government and they needed Economics to graduate. They drop them off their schedule and put something else on. Luckily we caught it and we're able to change it. But ultimately it is your responsibility to know if the classes that you're taking are going to count towards graduation. So if you have questions, just come talk to your counselor. We'll make sure that you're taking the classes that you need to be eligible for graduation. But please, if you change any classes, if you decide to do this program and you drop a class, you add a class, you have to come let your counselor know right away so we don't run into one of those situations where you're now ineligible to graduate because you've dropped something that's needed. Once you have been accepted by the college, students should schedule an appointment to meet with a college advisor to develop a schedule. What's going to happen is that I'm in charge of the College Credit Plus program. However, the other counselors, Mr. Ramsey's back there, Mr. Ramsey and Ms. Kohler here at the high school, and then Mr. Malatich and Mr. Ralph at the intermediate and junior highs, they will help you guys with your schedule. So any general CCP questions, you can come to me and ask me, but if it relates specifically to what classes you need for graduation or your schedule, talk to your individual counselor about that. We don't have a lot to say over what classes you're going to be taking necessarily at the college level. What we do is we'll sit down with your student, we'll talk about what they need for graduation and what they're planning on taking here at Oregon City Schools, and then we'll send a letter or a form to the colleges that tells them this is what they're planning on taking here, this is what we would recommend that they take there, but that can always change. And then they sit down with that advisor at the college level and they make their college schedule. So that's not necessarily something that us here at Oregon City Schools are a part of. It's a conversation that happens amongst the student and the college. Once that college schedule is made, I can't emphasize this enough, you please, please, please get it to your Oregon City Schools counselor right away. The quicker you get it to us, the easier it is for us, because we need to adjust your schedule here in our schools. And if you wait until summer to schedule your CCP classes, which so often happens, or if you don't get us your schedule, when we come back in the fall, that's when it gets really hard to fit you into the classes that you need and to readjust your schedule. So it's really important to get that schedule to Oregon right away so we can make the changes necessary. So like I said before, participation in this program is contingent upon admission into the college. So that is a decision that the colleges will make whether you are ready for the CCP program or not. We will assist you guys in gaining admission in any way that we can. So whether that is sending a transcript or a letter of rec or whatever it is that we need to send, we will help you guys out with that. However, we are ultimately not the ones who make the decision whether you get in or not. And we will not give an opinion to the colleges, just so you know. We won't call them and say, we think the student's ready, we think the student's not, because really by law it's up to the college and they have to admit you based on, if they're going to admit an incoming freshman, they base you on the same criteria. So we leave that decision completely up to them. If you are awaiting acceptance, we would recommend that you make a full schedule here, and I think the majority of you guys have already scheduled, regardless of what grade you're in. We have you make a full Oregon City School schedule because we have had a lot of students who think they're going to do CCP and then they change their mind at the last minute, and we don't want you to be locked out of a class, so we make sure that we create a full schedule here for you just in case. Schedule changes will then be made prior to the start of each semester. So as soon as you get us that schedule saying that you've met with the college and that you have created that schedule, bring it to us and we'll make the necessary adjustments here. In the event that the student withdraws from a college class, that student will be re-enrolled in the high school classes which were previously dropped. So that's why we make the schedules now. If you decide that you're going to do CCP, you drop classes here, and then you change your mind, we're just going to re-enroll you right into those same classes that you already had. It is as a student, it's your responsibility to notify either Clay High School or your counselor at the younger grade levels when you drop, add, withdraw, change your schedule at all. Please, it is so important you let us know right away because you don't want to become financially responsible for paying for that class. We will make reasonable efforts to schedule according to whatever kind of schedule you need. We have students who leave high school in order to participate in the program. We have students who come in late. We have a variety of situations, and we will try to accommodate whatever kind of schedule we can. However, I'm going to talk a little bit later about the fact that schedule conflicts are very, very common. Just about every one of our CCP students has to compromise in some way and do some kind of a schedule conflict. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. Please note we will not revise the master schedule or overload a teacher in order to make your College Credit Plus schedule work. So if you come to us and say that you can only be at UT at this time and that's the only time that French 4 is offered, unfortunately, once that master schedule is made, we can't revise that. We can't go back and say, okay, we're going to change when French 4 is made for you. So just keep that in mind. So what courses are available through the CCP program? Once you are admitted to college, you may take any course in their course catalog that is not religious or remedial and that applies toward a degree or certificate. Please note that you can only take classes where the college feels that you are ready in that subject. So if they feel that you're ready in math, they may admit you to take a math class, but maybe you wouldn't be eligible to take a comp class. It just depends on what the college admits you with. And again, the CCP advisor at the colleges are going to be your best source of information regarding which classes you're eligible to take. So one of if I fail a CCP class? Again, unfortunately, this is a situation that we do see here. Classes failed or withdrawn on or after the 15th day. So I believe UTBG, this is something new this year, right? No one's, I think it's they have up until the 14th day to be enrolled in class. If they withdraw after that, they're financially responsible. That's something I just read in the law. Yeah, Owens, sure, okay. So I think this is something new this year. So on or after the 15th day that the college course begins, you will receive an F if you withdraw from that class. That F, please note, will appear not only on your high school transcript, but on your college transcript. So if you're continuing on at that college, that transcript is going to follow you. You're going to have that F. If you do not receive a passing grade, we will also seek reimbursement for that class and the books and any fees associated with that. So it's really important to know if you withdraw after the deadline or you fail a class, you are financially responsible for books and the cost of the class. We will also withhold final transcripts and your diploma until you have reimbursed us. So we have, students in the past who senior year, second semester, fail a class, and all of a sudden they have to come up with hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars to us, and we will not allow them to graduate until that happens. So we definitely are very strict about that, and please keep that in mind. Another thing is that if you sign up for a class at the college, you have to attend it. I know that seems kind of common sense. However, we have had students who have signed up for College Credit Plus classes and then decided they didn't want to do CCP anymore, but they never learned at the college. In that situation, they were still enrolled at the college, they ended up receiving an F, and they become financially responsible for paying for it. So it's not the intent to participate, but once you're actually signed up with the college, once you've actually gone to the college, you've created a schedule, you're on their rosters, if you decide to withdraw at that point, you would become financially responsible if you decide not to show up to the class and you never tell them. You have to actually formally withdraw from the program. Does college credit transfer after graduation? Due to Ohio's transfer to degree guarantee, most of the classes that you're going to take at Ohio's public colleges are going to transfer to other public colleges. If you earn if you earn credit at a private college, those may transfer. It just kind of depends on a case-by-case basis, but for the most part, your gen eds are going to transfer over. A great website to go to is listed on this PowerPoint, transfercredit.ohio.gov. You can learn more about it there. On that website, you can type in what college you were at, what class you took, what college you want to transfer over to, and it will tell you if those credits are going to transfer or not. So that's a really good website for you. If you're maybe thinking about going to UT or VG for CCP, but maybe going farther away to Cincinnati or something like that after college, this will be a guide that will help you figure out what's going to transfer and not. And your advisors at the college level can help you with this as well. Athletic eligibility. If you're a student athlete, this is definitely something you need to keep in mind if you are thinking about participating in CCP. You still have to remain eligible according to the OHSAA bylaws. I would encourage you guys to first and foremost contact your athletic directors at your school if you're planning on doing College Credit Plus, to make sure that they're aware of what you're taking and that you are eligible. In order to be eligible, you have to be passing 5 1-credit courses or the equivalent per grading period. And again, this is definitely not my area of expertise, so I would encourage you guys to contact your athletic director to make sure that you are eligible. Academic and social responsibilities. If you guys decide that College Credit Plus sounds like a good program for you, there are some responsibilities that we would expect that you would follow. You need to follow whatever rules and regulations are set forth by your Oregon City School Handbook and by whatever college you are planning on participating in. Once you are enrolled, it is your responsibility to provide your counselor with a copy of your schedule. Again, for either the summer semester or the fall semester, we really need that schedule by summer break. We need to have it before we leave for summer break so we can get everything adjusted. You also need to alert your counselor if you add, drop, or withdraw from a class. Participation in College Credit Plus does not guarantee you admission to the college. So just because you've been admitted to Bowling Green for CCP doesn't mean that you are admitted as an incoming freshman after you graduate from high school. You would still have to go through the enrollment process, the application process for that. And you should follow the regular undergraduate application, like I just said, for whatever college you plan to attend after high school. There are a lot of different academic support services that are available to you. So if you think that CCP is right for you, you're on Owens campus, there's all kinds of different things that you can go to for support. So they could potentially have computer labs. A lot of the colleges have career development services that you can go to. They might have counseling services, tutoring services. You can use Ohio Link, which is a library system. You could potentially use their rec facilities, go to their sporting events. Every college handles this a little bit differently, and that's something that the reps can talk a little bit more about of what the benefits would be for you attending there. But there are definitely a lot of services that are available to you as a CCP student. But please note, you're not eligible to participate in any clubs on the college. So you can't join a fraternity or sorority or something like that. You are, first and foremost, an Oregon City School student who's attending the college, but you're not eligible to participate in that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk about some pros of College Credit Plus. Obviously, the biggest pro is financial. I mean, you're getting free college credit, so that's a huge, huge bonus. But I'll be honest, the pros sometimes can be a lot less than the cons. So we're going to cover the pros, but then we're going to go into some depth on the cons as well. So pros, you're going to count credit for both high school and college. So you're getting your language arts 9 credit out of the way, or 10, you're getting your comp 1 credit, so one class is doing multiple duty. So that's obviously a pro. Which means that you can complete your degree in fewer semesters, costing you guys a lot less money, so huge pro. You can take courses that may not be available in Oregon City schools. A college like UT or BG is going to be able to offer a whole lot more classes than what Clay High School can offer, so it's going to open up what your possibilities are. You may experience more diversity. There's going to be a lot of different ages, just a lot of different kinds of people on campus maybe than what you would see here at Clay High School. And you also have the ability to take online classes, which means flexibility for you. So it makes it somewhat easier for you. If you have sports or if you have certain things going on during the day, you can schedule in some online classes. But please note that can be a con as well, because we have seen several students take online classes and not be successful because they don't have that professor or that teacher staying on top of them regarding their assignments, and they end up not completing their assignments or not completing the class. So just please keep in mind that can be a pro or a con. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cons of CCP. For me, this is a big one. The students are often removed from the environment, the Oregon City Schools environment. I know I put Clay High School in here a lot because we didn't have any students in the 7th or 8th grade actually participate in this program this year. But they're removed from Oregon City Schools. They're not here for announcements. They're missing pep rallies. They're missing things that are happening during the day. They don't hear the announcements about dances and forms being turned in, and they're missing field trips and that kind of thing. So they can become somewhat removed from the community here. We would really encourage you guys to try to stay up to date and contact your schools to see if there's any important information that you've missed. So like I said, it gets hard when we have 40-some students participating in College Credit Plus at all different levels. We can't email them or contact them every single time that something important happens in the building. So it's really your responsibility to contact us and keep up to date. Students taking on-campus classes have to provide their own transportation. So days like tomorrow where they're projecting snow, that student would still be responsible for going to that class. UT doesn't delay, like Oregon does occasionally, but very rarely. So in bad weather, they're still going to be going to school. And you have to factor in that increased time for travel as well. They're going to be taking less classes because they have to get to and from the school. Some of our students will try to get as many classes in as they can, but it always makes me concerned because I don't want them speeding to get here. You're thinking about your student out there driving every single day on the college campus and to school. Students abide by the calendar of the college, not by the Oregon City Schools calendar, just depending on, and it's really hard if they're doing part class here in Oregon City Schools and part Owens or wherever. They're looking at 2 different calendars, so their spring breaks and things may not match up. So you could potentially, especially if you have like a full-time College Credit Plus student, they could have a completely different spring break or Christmas break or start dates and end dates than their siblings. So that can make things hard for vacations and just knowing where your child is and what's going on. They may not always match up to our calendar. There may be reduced opportunities for extracurricular activities. A lot of our students find that when they're scheduling, they run into a lot of scheduling conflicts and they have to take in the evenings, or they have to take them right at the end of the day. They don't have time to travel back here for whatever activity they're involved in after school. So sometimes they'll have to sacrifice those extracurricular activities. Students are, again, the scheduling conflict is probably the biggest thing that we can attest to, the biggest negative, or one of the biggest. Every single College Credit Plus student I have has had to make a sacrifice in some way. So whether that's giving up an extracurricular, or whether that's not being able to take the classes that they want here at Clay. So for instance, let's say if you're involved in the humanities program and it's offered periods 3 and period 7, that makes it really difficult to try to fit College Credit Plus in there, because when do you go to College Credit Plus? Or if we have French 4 that's offered 1 period, maybe that's the only time that you can get into that Comp 1 class at UT. So it's very, I would say just about every student we have has come to me and said, I really want to take this class, and it's like, I'm sorry, it does not fit, there's nothing we can do, we can't rearrange anything. So they end up having to give up something that maybe they've been involved in, for all of high school, but they just can't do it anymore. More cons, there's increased student responsibility at the college level. They have college professors that are not treating them like a 7th grader, they're treating them like a college student. So they're going to be responsible for everything on their own. They are going to be responsible for turning in their own assignments, for keeping themselves motivated to log on and do their online classes. There's not that person that's watching over them like they are here in Oregon. Students may be exposed to coursework that is geared toward adult learners, so there may be mature content in these classes that they're learning about. Student loan and scholarship eligibility could potentially be limited, or it could take effect on it, just depending on how many credit hours they do and how many years they've participated in the program. And this is something that you would really have to talk to the financial aid offices at the colleges to see how that would affect you. And then again, like I said, we would ask you to pay back those fees if you fail a class. So that is another potential con, that you guys can come away owing a lot of money to us if there's a withdrawal or a failure. Okay, so that's an overview of the program. I'm going to let the colleges that are here have a few minutes to talk about their individual programs as well, if they would want to. Each program, like I said, does something a little bit different, so we will let them have the floor, and then we'll talk a little bit about, if you are interested, what's going to happen next. Do you guys want to come up? Owens, you want to start? Or if you guys all want to come up at one time, whatever you want to do.
Hi, my name is Ori Reif, and I am half of a 2-person team at Owens to work with CCP students. So my role in CCP for Owens is attending these nights, working with your guidance counselor, making sure everything's turned in, more on the processing end of it. Casey Bailey is actually your advisor, and she's going to be your advisor every semester. So anytime you have a question, you're working one-on-one with somebody. And if for some reason things are a little busier and there's heavy traffic, then you would see me. So you're talking to 2 people at Owens, and that's it. So we become very invested in our students. We become very familiar with the backgrounds and the individual situations that each student might have. Everything that you need to do in order to be accepted to Owens CCP program is online. You can fill out an application by going to owens.edu, and in the middle of our website you can just click apply now. There's a drop down menu where you'll click CCP or College Credit Plus, and then you just go through the prompts to complete that application. Once we have the high school form from your guidance counselor and your transcripts, then we can get you scheduled for some classes. Registration for summer and fall begin in about a couple weeks, which is about mid-March, and that is when you can start meeting with Casey and scheduling appointments. If for some reason you can't have that one-on-one face-to-face appointment, we can do that by phone or email as well. So during these one-on-one appointments, you get walked through how to access your Blackboard, how to access your entire student account, everything that you would need to do in order to be successful at Owens. The other thing that you have access to as well is everything that our general students have access to. So that's accessibility services, the tutoring, the computer centers, all of that, so you can be as academically focused as you need to be. There are 3 ways that you can take classes at Owens. It's in class, online, and I believe that we have some classes here.
We do not.
No, okay. So the other thing that I need from you as far as requirements to be accepted is a parent signature form. So this you can print off of line and then you can send it in to us, and that requires the signatures from both parents and student as well, even if the student is 18. So that's state requirements, and that's something that we need. The high school form and the transcripts, which get sent in by your guidance counselor. And I know that your guidance counselor touched on this several times. It is very important that you have open communication not only with your guidance counselor, but your advisor at whichever institution you decide to go to. This is a student-led endeavor, and showing up here tonight was the first step, so congratulations, because you're taking that initiative into finishing out your higher education. So step 1 is complete. However, that communication is such an important part of what CCP is. At Owens, we don't have a minimum GPA. We don't require any ACTs or test scores in order to become a CCP student. However, if you're looking at taking a class that requires a prereq, like a math or an English, then we're gonna have to see some kind of test scores, whether it be an ACT or an SAT. And if you haven't taken that yet, because I know some of our underclassmen may have not signed up for that test yet, then you would just come to campus and take our Compass placement test, which is no additional cost to you at all. So for example, because I know some of this can be really, the logistics of it can be really overwhelming. For instance, a Composition 1, which would be like an English class, we typically require an ACT score of about 18 or a placement test score from the Compass. But our appreciation at Owens is one of those classes that doesn't require a prereq or co-req. So a lot of the times, depending on what that student is looking for, we start off with an art appreciation, which would fulfill a fine art requirement for any core requirement in any major for most Ohio schools. And we would start off with that so that you could transition and really see what it feels like balancing high school curriculum with the college curriculum as well. Other fees on campus, there is no parking fee. You do not pay a fee for an ID. All of that is for free. So the other unique thing about Owens that I like to share with the CCP students is that we have representatives from other institutions because we are a 2-year college. So most of our students end up going somewhere else to finish their 4-year degree. So we have representatives from UT, BG, Findlay, Lourdes, Spring Arbor, and Franklin University all have advisors on campus most of the week. And so if you're looking for specific questions for a specific program and you know that you have your heart on set on BG, but you're taking CCP classes at Owens and you know that you're going to do your first 2 years there, then you can meet with the advisor at BG so that you can lay out your entire plan so that we know that you are taking the right steps in order to get there someday. The last day to turn in completed forms is the first day of each semester, and then you're out of luck. So it is important that you make sure that you have that communication, that you turn in all of your forms on time, because we will try to do our best to accommodate you, but there's only so much that we can do with state deadlines. And like I said, summer and fall registration begin mid-March for both summer and fall semesters. So if you have any questions, I do have my card and a handout in the back. And if I didn't answer anything that I gave in my little presentation, just stop by and I'd be happy to help.
Hi, my name is Brian Bosch. First things first, I hate microphones. I'm a coach. I'm used to yelling, so if my voice kind of blows up on you, I apologize. I am the admissions coordinator for the University of Toledo. I also work in conjunction with John Adams, who is the director of early outreach and dual credit enrollment for the University of Toledo. The big benefits of taking College Credit Plus courses at the University of Toledo are you are considered a fully fledged student at the University of Toledo, that does mean you have access to all athletic events for free at the University of Toledo. You have access to all tutoring services and student success services at the University of Toledo, which does also include 2 student success coaches specifically built for the University of Toledo College Credit Plus students. They only monitor students in the College Credit Plus kind of group. They also help advise students on their admissions protocols for undergraduate admission, because both of their past experience is in college admissions, so they do know what to kind of look at for that next step, because a lot of people who are taking advantage of this program are going to be looking to go to college afterwards. They do know how to identify positives, negatives in those classes, what classes you need to take in order to get into your specific major program at the college you choose. We offer a full list of classes in the Ohio Transfer Module, which, as mentioned before, is a schedule of classes that every public institution in the state of Ohio has to take as a transfer credit. We also do offer every class in our full calendar of courses at the University of Toledo, which means if you started in 7th grade, full disclosure, I personally would not recommend doing that, but if you started in 7th grade and took all of your College Credit Plus courses throughout the entire term, from 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th, you could potentially graduate with an undergraduate degree when you graduate from high school. Once again, I would not recommend doing that. I can't stress that enough. The 2 other things that I like to talk about are full disclosure. We do have entrance requirements for our College Credit Plus students. You do have to maintain a 2.5 GPA while you're applying. You also have to have an 18 on the English, 22 on the math and science for the ACT, or the equivalents in the proficiency tests or graduation requirement tests that you've taken while you're at Clay, while you're at Facet. So those are kind of the numbers to look for. The other big thing that I do like to talk about is this is a program that does stick with you. It was mentioned that this is a college credit course that no matter what grade you get on, it sticks on your transcript at the school you're going to. That actually sticks on your transcript for any school you go to in college. So it's a very serious thing you have to look at. Depending on the grades that you get in these College Credit Plus courses, that sticks with you regardless of where you go. If you get a College Credit Plus course at Toledo and get a C, you go to the, I hate putting the in front of it, you go to Ohio State University. I'm a Michigan fan, I'm sorry. That sticks with you. So if you're identifying as a pre-law student or a pre-med student, that GPA is a massive requirement for those admissions moving forward. That's something you definitely have to look for, because that will negatively affect your GPA. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that. I do have all the information back there, all the admissions requirements. We do offer 5 different ways to take classes at the University of Toledo: asynchronous and synchronous online courses. Asynchronous is really going through the course at your own pace. You have outcomes that you have to complete, but you do not have to complete them by a certain date as long as they're all done by the end of the term. Synchronous is kind of just like a class. You have due dates on all your assignments. You have to get them done in a certain set amount of time. We also have in-class offerings at the University of Toledo, not at Clay, but that is another offering that we do provide at other schools. And we have blended courses, which are kind of a newer thing that we're doing for undergraduate students, and we're trying to implement them for College Credit Plus students, obviously taking the same courses. It's a flipped classroom approach. So you would get your lecture and pre-class materials before you actually go and meet at the campus. You go through your whole lecture, you'd study your materials, you do your homework before the class. The class is meant to kind of be a recitation, be something where you have an hour where you meet with your professors and talk specifically about everything in that kind of coursework that was given to you beforehand. We see a lot more knowledge retention in classrooms like that. We've been working with our Honors College to kind of implement that bachelor's degree wide for all of our undergraduate courses. We're definitely seeing a lot of success for it, and that does mean that some of those courses that are offered in blended style would be courses that you would have to take as well, being that you're taking advantage of undergraduate courses. So, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Dustin Sabo. I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Admission down at BGSU. A few notes that we have for everyone if you are interested in taking some classes at BG. Deadlines to keep in mind for the fall semester, April 15th, so that's coming up fairly quickly. That's when our online application would have to be in. If you're thinking about doing spring classes, that application deadline is November 15th. We do have summer class options available as well. Those deadlines are obviously a little bit later. In terms of the online application itself, the application is available at bgsu.edu/collegecreditplus. College Credit Plus, all one word. When you are filling out that application, you will see that there's 3 different options to take classes: on campus, online, or in your school. Unfortunately, we don't offer those here at Clay, so you'd only have 2 different options available for you: on campus or online. As both Owens and UT mentioned, the same services that are available to BGSU students, they're available to you as a Clay High School student, FAFSA High School, or FAFSA student, excuse me. Just keep in mind that as you are on campus, you are obviously around other college students as well. So as you're using those services, you will be using them with everyone else on campus. It's another thing to keep in mind. When you're turning in required documents, we do not require an ACT or SAT, so if you haven't taken it, that's fine. But keep in mind, you will have to take a placement exam for math or English if you have not taken the ACT or SAT. We do look at the sub-scores for math and English to place you into those English and math classes at BG, but placement exams are available if you haven't taken the ACT or the SAT. We take both of those tests. We obviously require an official high school transcript. If you've taken classes this current year and are looking to take classes next year at BG, but you took your classes at UT or at Owens last year, make sure you're sending in those transcripts from the other colleges. They may be on your high school transcript, but we cannot accept that as official. So if you're taking this year English 1 and you plan to take English 2 at BG next year, we cannot just place you in English 2 unless we've evaluated that credit, English 1 credit, from the other schools you've taken that. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, that as you are going through the program, if you are taking classes at multiple universities, make sure you're turning in transcripts from each university to whatever school you're going to, because by state law, we cannot evaluate those credits on any other transcript except from the school that actually offered those credits. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Another thing to look at with Transferology, State of Ohio tried to do a great job with their online transfer module website. Some of those searches are outdated though, I'll let you know that. Transferology is actually a really good resource to use to see how classes transfer from one school to the next. So that website is transferology.org. It's a free service. You have to create an account. So if you are on the Ohio transfer page looking at how credits transfer and it just doesn't seem right to you, it may not be right on that website. One of our transfer advisors who work closely with Owens noticed that there's a lot of classes that are not on there that are transferring over, or some of the courses are not even offered anymore and they're still showing as transferring over. So again, transferology.com is actually a really good website to check out how classes will transfer, not only within the state of Ohio, but a lot of schools outside of the state of Ohio also subscribe to that service as well, so a free service that's available for you. If I didn't mention it earlier, 3.0 is our cumulative GPA requirement to be admissible into the College Credit Plus program at BGSU. And again, placement exams or ACT, SAT scores if you have taken one of those tests. All students will be required to attend an orientation, which is where you will meet your College Credit Plus advising staff. So we do have advisors that are available specifically for College Credit Plus students, making sure that you're on track, taking the proper classes, getting registered for the proper classes. If you do have any problems with any of your classes, just need some assistance along the line, those advisors are always available for you. Claire Hoover is one of the main contacts. Anybody who comes back to the table, I can get you her contact information if you would like to talk to her. And one final piece, as has been mentioned before, really keeping that open communication, not only with your high school, but also with the advising staff at the college as you're attending and taking those classes. It really can't be stressed enough how informed you need to be and how informed both schools that you're attending need to be if you are going to be in this program. It really helps to keep in contact with anyone as much as you possibly can, whether that's us on the admission side as you're going through the application process, your high school counselor, or your college advisor. It really helps stem off any problems that may come up along the line. And if any problems do come up, it gives you that ability to find someone to talk to and get the solution as quickly as you possibly can. So I've got information about the classes that are available at BG back at the table, as well as some quarter sheets that really talk through your next steps and what you need to do to be considered for the program.
Thank you very much, guys. So at this point, if you think that you are possibly interested in this program, the next step would be to return your intent to participate form to me Again, this does not mean that you are definitely going to participate, but it means that you are interested at this point. Please note that one of the things that you're signing off on this form is that we would be allowed to send your OGT, OST, ACT, SAT, all of those scores to the colleges if they ask for them. So that is one thing, and we would be sending the transcript, which has all of your students' grades on it as well, so the colleges would be seeing that when you apply. Get this to me by April 1st. All application materials can be found online for the colleges, so you would go onto the college website, whichever one you're interested in, fill out that application. Once you have applied, or even if you haven't applied yet, if you just know what school you want to go to, come down, see me, or see your counselor at your school. We will get your transcripts and any other forms sent to the college. And then the college or university to which you applied is going to notify you of your acceptance. Once you've been admitted, some of the colleges are going to require you to attend an orientation session of some kind, and they'll give you information about that. You would schedule an appointment with them to create your college schedule, and then you would bring it back to your counselor to make any necessary adjustments here. Again, we talked about keeping close track of your students' grades. And like we said, the high school counselors and administrators here are not usually given access to see your grades. So we have no idea if your student is failing until we receive that transcript, or until we might receive notification from the college who is checking out your student's grades. So just keep that in mind. We don't have access to that. I think we talked about this. It was mentioned that if you attend CCP and then you go on to another college, you need to request transcript from that college, from your CCP college to your new college. They will not take it off of our high school transcript. You have on your PowerPoint there the links to all the 4 colleges. I have boards on here who I don't think is participating, but the 3 colleges that talked today, there's a link to their CCP application page. And that leaves us with questions. So if you guys have questions for me, or if you want, for the whole group, you can raise your hand and ask, or if you want to get up and talk to the individual colleges in the back, you're welcome to do that as well.